Nicola Naylor is a competitive dressage rider. She's also blind.
People often say to me that I march about as if I can see. There is a system to the whole thing. Everything gets put in a specific place, so I can walk about and grab stuff because it is always put back in its place. When I was a child, I show jumped and I was partially sighted. I've never had any sight in my right eye, and I had a degree of sight in my left eye. So when I show jumped, I could see a fence at the very last stride or the very last moment. But then I made a big decision to give up, and I gave up largely because I couldn't see how to turn it into a career. While I was at university, I lost what remaining sight I had in my left eye. Ever since then, I've been left with some light awareness, but no shape or anything. And I didn't really come back to riding until 7 or 8 years ago when my daughter was riding. And somebody said to me, well, why don't you just get back on? Why don't you get back on and you could compete in dressage? I've never looked back since, really. I've loved every moment. When I think of dressage, dancing on horses is maybe the best way of explaining it. We work in arenas which are 60 metres by 20 metres, and these arenas are divided by a series of letters, and we perform movements at each letter. But it's the way that those movements are performed. I think of it a bit like ballet, so it's the degree of elasticity, suppleness, and it takes years and years of practice and training to be able to do all the different movements that is possible to be done. I ride in both para dressage and in able-bodied dressage. We won the para national championships last September, and we've really focused on going out internationally this year, and we've had, placings in the top 3. In the able-bodied dressage, I've been working my way up the levels and want to continue doing so until I get to the top level, which is Grand Prix, which would be it's a really hard test to ride. I mean, that's what I work towards every day.
Nicola spends 4 days a week with her trainer, Daniel Watson.
I always say that for other riders, the team is them and the horse. But for me, the team is me, the horse, and Dan.
Today they're competing in para dressage.
Dan comes into the arena with me, and he stands at X, which is the absolute centre point of the arena. He calls each letter probably about a metre before I reach it. That way I know exactly at any time where I am in the arena. It's been a learning process for me and Dan, discovering what the problems are if you can't see. So a lot of our movements can't really be done effectively unless the horse is absolutely straight. And I find that judgment call of knowing where the horse's shoulders are and is the horse straight, that judgment call, I find that very hard to make.
That's to Nicola Naylor and Amadeus.
So how was that for you, Nicola?
We've done better, but this is the first time I've ridden him in a championship. So for that, it was quite good. I never go into the arena and do a test and come out thinking, oh, well, I got a slightly lower mark, but that's because I'm blind. It doesn't work like that in my head. I'm going to be marked according to how well I perform. So actually, I don't think of myself as any different. Everything is done through memory, right down to how many strides it is to the stable door. And I like being efficient. I think for me, horse riding has always been there. Losing my sight involved losing lots of things and coming to terms with that loss. So having lost it and then refound it probably has made it quite special. I live it, I breathe it, I eat it, I sleep it. And I just want it so much. And when I'm on that horse, I think of nothing else. I'm just in that moment on that horse. And I mean, that's a privilege. That's happiness.